ॐ वाङ् मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविराविर्मयेधि वेदस्य महाणीस्थ श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासीः अनेनाधीतेनाहोरात्रान् सन्दधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु मामवतु वक्तारमवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ May my mind be firmly established in my speech. May my speech be firmly established in the mind too. May there be perfect correspondence between my thoughts, words, and actions. O self-effulgent Lord, be revealed in my consciousness. May the truths of the scriptures come to me. May not what I learn from them ever forsake me. Let me live my life day and night according to their teachings. I shall speak what is appropriate. I shall speak the truth. May that protect me. May that protect the teacher. Om. Peace. 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 Let us feel our true, divine, infinite, blissful nature by thinking of infinite ocean of bliss on which I am a wave. As a wave, my existence is fleeting. I am always panicked about imminent destruction. But as I look at my source, I see my true nature is unchanging, immortal, infinite and ever blissful. There is no coming or going for me. I am peace itself. The waves come and go. They are just appearances on me. Om. Peace, peace, peace. So, dear friends, let us begin the study of this book as usual by reciting the opening chant. Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam kavibhiriditam kalmashapaham shravanamangalam shrimadattatam bhuvi grinanti te bhurida janaha. Let us remember that we are studying the life of God in human form. That is, the life of a human being in appearance, but actually in substance, God. So, this is to be kept in mind while studying this life, that otherwise it will be impossible for us to find the meaning of the actions that Sri Ramakrishna performs. And this is true with all incarnations of God, that they are aware of both these, their divine nature as well as their human role. The divine nature is intact. The human role, like a role in a stage show, is taken up. So the human role is according to the particular script. So, and that script is according to the need of the age, according to what the main purpose is the teaching, to educate, to let everybody realize their true infinite nature And that is the only way to go beyond the misery, the sufferings in this world. There is no other way. That is why the incarnations of God come to teach us, to show this. In our last class we were discussing that one of the needs of the present age is to see that all different paths are true as paths and they lead to the same goal. This truth has to be presented to the world at large through the irrefutable evidence of experience. The evidence that is furnished by logic is comparatively very weak. The evidence of experience is far stronger. Sri Ramakrishna, in this body God has performed the spiritual practices of the various different faiths, and then realize the same one goal, that yes, all faiths are true. This idea was not that it was never taught by other teachers, but other teachers taught it mainly by logical understanding of these paths and also referring to the books. But Sri Ramakrishna actually practiced these things. So, and thus he has that authority. Moreover, he saw the need of it. If we see in the earlier ages, people were not in their mindset so global. Their territory was limited. They would know people in their small village and nearby villages a little bit. That's about it. There was not so much international, worldwide travel and contacts. Now you see, during Sri Ramakrishna's time itself, and that the people were traveling all over. There were all different religions being practiced in most countries. That it was not that in India only, say, Hinduism was there. There were lot of Muslims, lot of Christians of different hues, lot of Jewish people, and so similarly in other countries as well things were spreading. The books of various faiths, they were getting translated and spread all over. The translations of Vedas and Bhagavad Gita, they already were done in English, and a lot of people in other languages like German also, there were scholars of Vedanta. So the ideas were spreading, and so it was important to show that there is no need of fighting about the superiority. All religions are true in the sense that they are various paths that lead to the same goal. Those religions are not same, means the practices differ, but they all lead to the same ultimate goal. That is where their sameness lies, their validity lies, that they reach the same goal. Like if you are coming here from different paths, you will not see the same scene, you will not go through the same landmarks, they will be different. Somebody coming, say, from say 2 miles down on the east side of Vedanta Society and walks on the Angel Street, then we'll see there is that Wayland Square, there is that CVS, and there is that Congregational Church, and then we'll come to Vedanta Society. Go 2 miles on the west. You will, then that person will come through the financial districts, the various buildings of Rhode Island School of Design and Brown University. Will see on the corner that Hillel, then Thayer Street, Brown Bookstore, and then will come here. So the landmarks will be different. The practices will be different in different religions, and yet the goal will be same. Sri Ramakrishna, having known this, understood this, practiced this, is now preaching these things because it is the need of the world now. Now everything is so global. It is something produced in some other country is sold in America or all over the world. It is everywhere you see this. The thoughts are changing. The companies that belong, say, to in one country, they are registered, but they have offices all over the world. Their staff is from so many different countries. So now we are so closely connected together that it becomes fundamentally necessary that our ideas about what is called religion, means the idea of ultimate truth beyond all these relative truths, the ultimate goal of human life. These are very important things for everyone. As mankind, these questions keep on coming to us, and these ideas therefore are important for every person, modern or ancient. So when all these people are mixing together, coming together, living together, they need to see this truth that all their ideas about these most important fundamental questions of life, they could differ, but yet all of them in the end would lead to the same goal. So they differ because of the temperament. Like the food, that everybody doesn't take the same food, it is, but yet the basic qualities of the food, that it should be nutritious, it should provide nutrition, it should provide joy, and so forth, they remain the same. Whether somebody is eating, say, beef, or somebody is eating, say, rice, and so forth, it does not make difference. So Sri Ramakrishna saw that this truth is what the Divine Mother has given to him, and through him the Divine Mother is going to spread it all over. The Divine Mother, the word is used to indicate that source, like mother. From mother, the offsprings, as it were, that is the word offspring, springing off from the mother. So all these come from the mother. So Divine Mother is that where you see that the source of everything, everything springs up from that firmament, the ultimate source of existence. So that is where you see the idea that the supreme reality from which everything appears, that is now showing Sri Ramakrishna that this truth is to be now spread all around. Let us read, it is on page 649, that it is the second paragraph. In her inscrutable Leela, the play, the Divine Mother gave Master wonderful and unprecedented spiritual experiences throughout his life. She also infused into him universal and liberal religious ideas that she had never inspired in any other great teacher of the world. The Divine Mother made the Master understand this and simultaneously revealed to him the amount of spiritual power that she had instilled in him, and the fact that she had made him a wonderful instrument to transmit this power to others. A very important passage to understand Sri Ramakrishna's personality, that it is an instrument, purely an instrument, in the sense bereft of all egos. All type of egotistic ideas are gone. There is no I and mine. It is way impossible for ordinary human beings like us to have a feel of that, because for us every single action is coming from I am doing it, I want this, I like this, I dislike this. If you see that ego I is the center around which the whole life as it were moves for all of us, and therefore we are not that pure instruments. Although this ego doesn't do anything except hurts us, yet our life revolves around it, which Sri Ramakrishna, that is absent. And so he is the instrument, perfect instrument in the hands of Divine Mother. As is the operator does work, so the instrument goes along with that. The pen does not write its own matter. What, for example, Charlie is writing here. It is whatever Charlie wants to write, the pen writes. It is not that the pen has its own will. That no, today I am going to write Shakespeare's poetry. And no, then what will happen? Imagine, instead of taking the notes of this class, something else will get written. So because that instrument has no will of its own, that is the meaning of instrument. A person becomes a perfect instrument when the ego is gone. I had told in this context earlier the story of the flute, on the lips of Krishna. Krishna is shown holding a nice flute, playing the flute. And then so many gopis, those maids who were after Krishna's presence amongst them and love of Krishna, they became jealous of this flute. Flute, what did you do that Krishna keeps you always on his lips? You must have some special qualities. And the flute said, sorry, I don't have any special quality. I am an empty bamboo. I am an empty bamboo. What do I have? Only thing is, I don't have my tunes. Whatever Krishna plays, that comes out of me. That is the instrument, you see. So, Sri Ramakrishna's life was that kind of an instrument through whom Divine Mother could work without any interruption, without any, the interference or adulteration. So, that is why that instrument was a fit and perfect instrument. The master was amazed when he realized the dearth of spirituality in the world and how the mother's grace had given him a stockpile of extraordinary spiritual power to be used in removing that want. Other important thing is this spread of Catholic religious views. That means Catholic not in as a sect of Christianity, means all embracing understanding of the idea of religion and how all paths lead to the same goal, but the main substance in any religion is this spirituality. And nowadays, therefore, so many people say that I am not religious but spiritual. I am spiritual, especially in the college where they have to, sometimes they are asked about their religious ideas. And many, if not most, they write that not religious but spiritual, because that is earlier religion means mainly spirituality. Then they organized religions to some extent or a great extent deviated from this ideal and went into politics and other things. So, the organization in itself became more important than the purpose of that organization. So, that is how what people understand religion means going to a certain religious place, participate in certain rituals, and so forth, some litany is there in every church and synagogue and all that. So, accordingly you go there, practice that in Hindu temples or in that masjids. You have certain rituals. When you do that, that's it. But the other side, they keep on asking you for money, give more money. That is how you see the main idea is to get lot of money, have lot of influence. These are the baser instincts of human beings that start playing in the religious organizations as well. So, more power, more money, more worldly enjoyments, that is how they lose spirituality. It is seen that some churches opened after pandemic to some extent, like ours is opened, but because of the restrictions and because of the fears, the cafeteria and other things were kept closed. And then the attendance was not there. Very few came for the service as such, for the lecture or for singing. The interest was okay, then we will have some nice food to eat. And that started becoming a bigger aspect of the existence of the religious organizations. in Hindu temples, main thing is, okay, let us go to have prasad. I went to one Hindu temple, it is the temple of this Krishna consciousness, Hare Krishna temple. Now, many people, there was some kirtan going on, and I saw there very few people were there. I went there and then joined in the kirtan a little bit. A lot of people were just going to their cafeteria, their dining hall, and get the food. So, it is, and that became their main source of income is that. It is to do that. It is, there have been, many such organizations, and they have actually have been running hotels and these restaurants and so forth, because that is what is they getting them money and recognition and name. So, spirituality dwindles in course of time, and human beings become unaware of their true nature, the purpose of life and so forth. So, Sri Ramakrishna saw that through him Divine Mother is also bringing this message, that the purpose of life is to realize God, to experience God. That is the only purpose of human life. So, he soon realized that the Divine Mother had once more descended to the battlefield to kill the invincible Rakta Bija. This demon is name of a demon. It is mentioned in the Chandi, the 700 verses on Divine Mother, that Rakta Bija is a terrible demon, was killed by the Divine Mother Durga. And this Rakta Bija could not be killed easily, because that when you hit that demon with any weapon, the blood that comes out from that demon, with every drop of blood, another demon exactly similar in strength and valor would just spring up there. So, go to kill one demon, you get thousands of them. So, it is just like, a virus multiplying. So, this was multiplying, this demon, and so how to kill? So, the Divine Mother had to invent some trick to kill that demon. So, this is the demon of not spirituality. It is having no spirituality becomes the demon, that it is the demon of delusion sprung from ignorance. The people of the world would again be blessed by bearing witness to the Mother's overflowing compassion, and would lack the words necessary to glorify her infinite divine qualities and her sovereignty over millions of universes. All of them, they spring from this firmament. We call that Divine Mother, that consciousness. Everything springs from that. In that sense, she is Mother. So, as excessive heat generates clouds, as waxing is followed by waning, and as prosperity arises after adversity. So, when innumerable people feel a long accumulated spiritual emptiness, the infinite compassion of the Divine Mother takes form and appears as a living and moving manifestation of the power of the Guru. Out of grace, the Divine Mother made the Master understand this and showed him that she had enacted her Leela, her play, through him many times in previous ages and would continue to do so many times in the future. The Master could not enjoy liberation like ordinary human beings. It is clear that from this time on the Master experienced this, that it is in quotes, wherever there is any trouble in the Divine Mother's empire, I shall have to rush there to stop it like a government officer. So, yeah, wherever you hear, you have some terrible situation, problem, you call 911 and then somebody answers and then you tell the problem and somebody reaches to help you. So this is how the world is in such difficulty, but there is the solution also. Wherever there is a problem, a solution sooner or later emerges. So, the Master realized that out of her grace the Divine Mother had, for the benefit of humanity, developed in him this Catholic view: as many faiths, so many paths. It is evident that at that time his discriminating mind began investigating another matter. He became extremely eager to know those fortunate ones who would accept this new and liberal attitude directly from the Master, from the Mother, who was residing in him, and would mold their lives accordingly. Who would be empowered by the Mother to be his helper in the divine play of this age and assist in propagating the liberal view amongst others. That now has become his great urge, tremendous yearning. Exactly as he used to yearn for the vision of the Divine Mother and cry with so much of agony. Now same thing started in his life, but the purpose is now to get somebody whom this spiritual power can be transmitted, wherefrom it would get to all other people. It is that it is a law, it is a chemistry, that the need and the supplier for the need, they arise in a way together. So now this need for the one who can distribute, there is factory and there is the distribution. It is only factory. Without the distribution, without the buyers, the factory doesn't run. So you have to have the people should first of all need that thing, and it should be useful for them, and then there would be the distributing these line, all the chain must be there to distribute it to the needy people. Without that, only factory is not going to be of any use. We see therefore when the people don't need something, then even if there is a factory, there are no distributors left because there are nobody who is buying those things. And thus the factory closes down. It cannot be sustained anymore. We know so many factories, so many other businesses, they closed down in the history because there is no need for that such a thing. So like all the horses, stables and all those things were gone. People who would take care of the horses, that also is gone. There's so much manufacturing of the hay for the horses, gone. Why? Because the need is gone. The cars came. When the cars came, they were being advertised, that the cars running on gasoline. So the advertisement, now the advertisers are wonderful people, very brainy. So the advertisement was very catchy. Feed only when you ride. The horse has to be fed whether you ride or you don't ride. Whereas the car, you feed only when you ride. So many advantages were shown. And gradually the horses, they got eliminated except for races and for hobbies. As a means of travel, they have now said goodbye. It is, I see one very old transportation company which runs even now. I see their trucks, J.B. Mason, and that is from some 1800s something going on. And now their initial cars were, the picture was similar, but was driven by horses. And now they can't do it with horses, they have the gasoline run trucks there. So as per need, there is the production and the suppliers also. Now the need is that of intense spirituality, whereby a person scorched by all these worldly pursuits will be able to find peace. One comes to understand sooner or later that this mad pursuit after money and after consumerism, all that does not buy peace. Even if you ask, order at Amazon, even if you are a prime Amazon person, peace, you will not get peace. It is not out there for sale. It is bliss. It cannot be given on shops. But yet, do we not yearn for it? We want that. We want love. And we want peace. We want bliss. These are the central things that everybody wants. And even after running to get all this so-called prosperity, knowledge of worldly things, we fail to get it. We keep on running after getting more and more money, getting into more and more bondage, that's all. And today or tomorrow, gradually everyone realizes this, that no, this is not giving me anything. But now how to get this? Well, don't worry, there is this Sri Ramakrishna who can distribute it. There are the distributaries of that as well available. So, Sri Ramakrishna now, having manufactured it in his being through the grace of Divine Mother has put all that power, now needs the distribution. And so that tremendous yearning came to him. He started crying very earnestly, with lot of that pathos in it, that where are you all? Come. So that was how the master later described to us his mental anguish. In those days, there was no limit to my yearning to see you all. He is telling those earnest devotees, earnest disciples, there was no end to my yearning to see you all. My heart was wrung like a wet towel, and I was restless with pain. Exactly similar description when he was yearning for the vision of the Divine Mother, similar yearning, similar effort in manufacturing as well as in distributing. So, I wanted to weep loudly, but I couldn't cry in public or people would misunderstand me. I could just manage to keep my grief under control during the daytime, but when evening came and the vesper music resounded from the temples of the Mother and of Vishnu, I could master my feelings no longer. I was overcome by that thought that another day has gone and still you were not here. I would climb onto the roof of the kuti and cry out at the top of my voice, "Come to me, my boys, where are you? I can't bear to live without you." I thought that I would go mad. Then after some days, you began to come one after another, and I calmed down. That is how these secondary instruments, the secondary distributors of this power, like Vivekananda and all, started coming to Sri Ramakrishna. No others belonging to this class of devotees will come yes, when he saw Purna, one devotee who used to come to Sri Ramakrishna, when Purna came, Sri Ramakrishna got the vision. Mother showed me that no more of this class of devotees will be coming anymore, who are of that tremendous spiritual material. Their life was, their character and capabilities that spring from them were all right for this purpose, to become instruments in distribution. That the Mother showed you all to me and said, these devotees are your inner circle. Before they came, Divine Mother had shown Sri Ramakrishna about the information about their appearance, how they are, and so forth. And so as they came, Sri Ramakrishna could recognize them. So, we have quoted the Master's own words to convince the reader that we have not invented anything in our description of Master's condition. Some of these words are his own, that like about the yearning, as he described, that has been quoted. And about their being inner circle, it is also Sri Ramakrishna's words that have been quoted. While determining who would realize and accept the liberal religious view, the Master had another conviction that he often shared with us. He said, one who is living his last birth will come here. That is just at the threshold of liberation. And that person will come here. And it is a very loaded statement, friends, that come here means what? Does it mean come to any organization bearing the name of Sri Ramakrishna, like Vedanta societies and Ramakrishna Mutt centers? Does it mean that? One has to ponder over this, that coming here, Sri Ramakrishna used to utter this word about showing his body. Come here doesn't mean that come only to that physical presence or to the various organizations started in his name. What does it mean? One has to, there is discussion on this, but it is my request that you all think about it. It is that what does it mean to come here, to come to Sri Ramakrishna? What does it entail? What does it mean? We will read. One who is living his last birth will come here. A person who has sincerely called on God, even once, will definitely come here. So many people had different reactions to these words. It is hard to record all of them. Some concluded that this statement was absolutely unreasonable. That is the first reaction. What does it mean? He was talking about Catholic being, all inclusive, all paths lead to the same goal and so forth. And now he says they have to come here if it is their last birth. Those statements don't seem to be reconciled. So naturally the first reaction will be that absolutely unreasonable. Some thought that these were incoherent words caused by the master's devotion and faith. These words are incoherent. What he was actually saying was not properly recorded or understood. And because of his faith and devotion, he would go in different states and utter something. So this need not be taken much seriously. So some found in this statement mental illness or egoism. Some thought that although they could not understand it, it must be true because the master said so. These people therefore stopped analyzing it and arguing about it, considering such doubt to be detrimental to their faith. Some others concluded that they could not understand it, and they could not understand if the master allowed them to. So, setting aside any firm belief or disbelief, they listened calmly to others' opinions for or against it. But it would not take long to understand those words if we could make the reader realize that the master was simple, natural, and devoid of ego, and that the Divine Mother made him realize her liberal religious view and establish him as a true teacher. That is not all. If the reader examines these words thoroughly, he or she will understand that this statement is an important proof that the Master attained a high spiritual state in an easy and natural way. So we have to think what is meant by here. It is somewhat in a way complex, but the last statement that we read gives the way, it shows the way how we can see what is meant by these words, that everyone whose this is last birth, that means he is on the threshold of liberation, and that is the meaning of last birth. That is, otherwise, because our journey is still not complete, we have to keep on taking next birth. And there are desires. Where will the desires go? Then there is lot of karma done in this life. Where will that effect go? So one takes up a new birth, has to, forced into taking a new birth, no liberation. One cannot say, no, I don't want another birth. Oh well, it is, you have done so much, now you have to have another birth. You have so many desires, where will they go? Another birth has to be there. There is no escape, you are bound slave. And so, what is the meaning of last birth? All other desires are extinguished, except the desire to realize God as one's very self. All that actions and their results, there is, all have been exhausted, gone. And so there is no material for the next birth left. You have arrived at the final goal of life, and so therefore the GPS has said you have arrived, and so now no more driving necessary, just get out of the vehicle, that's it. So that is the meaning of the last birth. Now while those who have this as their last birth have to come to the Sri Ramakrishna, what he says, have to come here, means what? Where? So that we will have to all think about. This topic continues, and then next Tuesday one can, discuss more about it. It would be great if you think about it more by that time. So we will just think about this, and after a few seconds you can ask your questions if you have any. Any questions? Any comments? Oh, Charlie, you have a comment, okay, or a question.
Yeah, just a clarification. Is he saying that everyone in the world will come to him if it's their last birth, or just people who are around him?
Well, he did not say anything like that. He said those who have this as their last birth will have to come here. What did he mean? That is for you to think about, He did not specify that people only living near, physically living near there in Dakshineshwar or those places, Kashipur. He did not say that people living only during those days. He did not put any such statement. He said they all have to come here. So yes. So any question on the web?
Yes, there are 3 web questions.
3.
First question from Shreyas F.
Shreyas
F.
F. Okay.
If one attains God and gets liberated, can the same person be again born?
Oh, this for 99.99% people, there won't be rebirth again. There will be, Sri Ramakrishna has described here that for an ordinary person, when you reach that goal, the body cannot be sustained anymore. The person, as it were, the body falls off, dies. But there are very few who come back to life to teach other people. Their life is specially preserved by what we have been saying in this Divine Mother. They are called in scriptures the Adhikarik Purusha. They have been, their bodies are kept. They are specially very of very pure stuff, so to say. I had given one analogy why the other bodies cannot sustain be sustained after reaching the goal is because this force of this awareness, divine awareness, is so much that our nervous system cannot handle it. Ordinary human nervous system, ordinary human brain is made only to carry those small currents of subject-object feeling, going after the that which pleases the senses, and that's about it. Only for those things that our nervous system is capable of that. And so it is even beyond imagination for most people, that idea that there is no subject-object division at all. There is only one without second, homogeneous, continuous existence. Our brain, our system will not be able to handle it. It is like that, that some electrification done in a building, and according to the need that it is, 20 amperes current will be enough. The wiring is done with 20 amperes capability. Now suddenly, if say 100 amperes go into it, the wires will not be able to handle that. So that is how, therefore, we have circuit breakers, and that if the more current tries to go to protect the wiring, the circuits break. Some people, thinking that they are very smart, instead of 20 ampere circuit breaker, they insert there 100 ampere. Then the circuit breaker remains intact, the wiring in the building all collapses or they catches fire, whatever. So that is what is our nervous system, is very similar to the electric lines. And so that consciousness cannot be held on to by our nervous system, and so this realization makes the body fall off, and there is no further purpose left for rebirth. And so that person is not born again, except those who have their nervous system very strong, and so they can come back with that awareness that God alone is real, and they become the transmitters of this knowledge to the population at large. Thank you.
Second question from D.L. Muthukrishnan Ramachandra. How could Swami Vivekananda read and remember books so quickly? What was his secret technique?
Well, it was not secret at all. He has mentioned at so many places while speaking to his disciple Sharat Chandra Chakravarti. He has mentioned that you can read about that in the book that contains those dialogues between Sharat Chandra Chakravarti and Swami Vivekananda. It is probably Talks with Swami Vivekananda. That is the English title, Talks with Swami Vivekananda. So there, this very question was asked by Sharat Chandra Chakravarti when he saw that Vivekananda has finished reading some volumes of the Encyclopedia Britannica in just a few days. So he thought that nobody can read that. And Vivekananda said, "What nonsense you are talking. I have already finished these volumes. If you want, you can ask me anything from these." And this disciple, Sharat Chandra Chakravarti, he asked some very abstruse topics that people generally do not know about it to Vivekananda, and Vivekananda not only answered with proper explanation, but quoted verbatim from those books. So, and when amazed, Sharat Chandra Chakravarti says, "How? This is a very miraculous thing." He says, "There is nothing miraculous if somebody observes unbroken celibacy in thought, word and deed. Then that power which otherwise gets frittered all around, that power is conserved. It becomes the power of intelligence, called prajna, medha. That medha opens as it were. Medha is, we chant the hymn to Medha, that Medha is the power with which one understands and grasps the things. That becomes so intense that it is just a trivial matter to just look at the books. Many such incidents have been noted in Vivekananda's life. Yeah.
Third question is from Michael Zamo. If Sri Ramakrishna was already liberated, already free, how did he attain liberation again through other religions? How can the ever-free liberate himself multiple times?
Yes. It is a question that is raised many times, that Sri Ramakrishna's life was not for his own attainment of liberation. He was born as human being without a trace of ignorance. That is how, that is how the life of a God incarnation is. There is only assumed ignorance, not real ignorance there. And therefore, Sri Ramakrishna's body, being like that, he would assume ignorance several times and get liberated several times to demonstrate. Like a teacher, although teacher knows, understands everything, comes to the level of the students who need to learn, and then teaches them from their level to, and ultimately they come to the level of the teacher. So that is how a teacher does it, and multiple times the teacher does the same thing. So that is how Sri Ramakrishna practiced many religions in this manner, assuming the attitude of a spiritual aspirant to demonstrate this truth, to teach others. That is the purpose of Sri Ramakrishna's appearance, his advent, the God assuming human form. They, Jesus says in the similar vein, that it is through him that the world will see this divine light. It is also, you will find therefore that he uses the word, Jesus uses the word I, but not in the sense of an ordinary human being, but the embodiment of that truth. So the incarnations of God, they have a very special way of conducting their life than ordinary human beings. That is the answer to that.
Okay. Can I ask a follow-up question to the first question?
Oh, you have a question?
Yes.
Okay.
On occasion, we hear that some illustrious second-generation monks of this order have experienced that ultimate awareness. And we observe that they kept their bodies and oftentimes functioned and things like that.
Yes. Not only that second generation, or many others also of that purity, and they realize the truth, and their body is intact for the purpose of distributing this knowledge to others. Yeah, it is not that there is the only for this generation, that generation. No, it can happen where a very pure soul can get this knowledge and still come down for the sake of distribution of it to fulfill Divine Mother's work. And there is now no ego left. For others it is that same person, but for that person the awareness has completely changed. It is described as when the rope is burnt, still on that the ash will be there. On the ash you will still see the twinings. So now similarly this person's life is, there is no bondage, but the appearance of bondage is there. So that person is still living to impart this wisdom. That's yes, there are certainly people, but very rarely, far few in the maybe this is, don't take it literally, in the 7.3 billion people, maybe there can be 7. so few. So it is very rare something. Yeah. So let us conclude with the closing prayers. Yes, let me remind you, today is the last day for the concessional registration for the upcoming spiritual retreat on December 11. On December 11, there is the spiritual retreat from 9:30 to 6 on the topic Yoga Psychology. and it will be given mainly by that Swami Yogatmananda. So those who want to register at a concessional rate can register today. Either those who are here can give to Naomi, and those who are online can do the registration online. But the retreat is only in person. So those who have to attend have to come here. There is, it is not going to be on web, at least live. May the Divine, who is Father in heaven of the Christians, Holy One of the Jewish faith, Allah of the Muslims, Buddha of the Buddhists, Tao of the Taoists, Great Spirit of the Native Americans, Ahur Mazda of the Zoroastrians, and Brahman of the Hindus, lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May the all-loving being manifest himself unto us and grant us abiding understanding and all-consuming divine love. Peace, peace, peace be unto all.